All right, good evening, everyone. I'll call the Planning Advisory Committee meeting to order, and I see everyone in attendance. I just got some opening remarks. The public meeting is being heard by the City Council Planning Advisory Committee, and the public notice has been given in accordance with the Planning Act. The non-elected members of the Planning Advisory Committee are Mr. John Beltutis, Mr. David Joyce, Ms. Catherine Brown, and Mr. Paul Jennings. Citizen appointees may ask questions and participate in the discussion in order to assist in making recommendations to City Council, but may not make motions or vote in connection with the public meeting. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the Planning Committee or City Council before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of City Council or the local planning appeal tribunal. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the City of Belleville before the related bylaw is passed, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the local planning appeal tribunal unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to add the person or public body as a party. Comments received at this meeting, as well as written comments, will be considered by the Engineering and Development Services Department in analysis of the applications that were part of the public meeting tonight. A recommendation report will be brought forward upon receipt of all agency and public comments in the future. Any persons wishing to be advised of the Belleville Planning Advisory Committee's recommendations with respect to today's applications are requested to provide their name and address, as well as the application in which they have an interest, in writing to the City of Belleville. So with that, call for any disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. And seeing none, we'll go to public meetings. 3.1 notice of complete application and introductory public meeting for proposed zoning bylaw amendment bylaw 3014 is 1374 Tutsville Road, City of Belleville. Owner is Elmer and Sharon Prest. File number is B-77-1159. And Mr. Chan, you're going to present the application.
Certainly. The subject land is located on the southwest corner of Highway 62 and Clearview Road. Consent application B1221 proposed a lot addition that conveyed the location of a driveway that's used for the neighboring property. The application proposes to rezone the subject land from prime agriculture with special provisions to rural residential zone for the lot addition lands and rural zone for the retained lands. No changes are proposed on the hazard zone on the subject land. Staff has not received any correspondence from the public regarding this application at this time. The official plan designation of this property is rural and environmental protection. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chan. And we have Elmer and Sharon Prest on the phone.
I'll allow the talk there and you should be able to address them, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Mr. and Mrs. Prest, you're in the meeting and have the floor. If you want to unmute your phone.
You can *6 if you're trying to unmute your phone.
It was unmuted there just briefly.
Again, it's a *6 if you're unmuting.
There you go. Mr. and Mrs. Prest, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, yeah, it's Councillor Carr chairing the committee. So the application has been presented. Any questions from committee members? No, we don't have any at all. Okay, thank you very much. And I see there's no one else to speak on the application. So can I get a motion to refer, please? Councillor Sanderson, second by Councillor Alsop. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And moving on to 3.2 of the public meetings, notice of complete application and introductory public meeting for application for proposed amendment to zoning bylaw number 10-245 as amended, 217-219 North Front Street, City of Belleville. Owner is MB North Front Street Incorporated. Agent is Duro Mechanic, care of Bicor Design Group Limited. File number is B-77-1160. And Mr. Deming, you're presenting this application.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. The subject land is municipally known as 217-219 North Front Street, which is located on the east side of North Front Street, north of Craig Street and south of Bell Boulevard. The city is received a complete application for the amendment to zoning bylaw 10245, which would facilitate the development of a car wash station with accessory vacuum stations. The application requests an amendment to the zoning bylaw to permit the proposed use of the car wash station and to reduce the required interior side yard from 4.5 meters to 1.2 meters along the north side yard. A landscape plan was submitted with the application identifying how the proposed use will be buffered from the existing residential uses to the east, including a 1.8 meter high privacy fence along the rear lot line and portions of the side lot lines. The city has not received any comments from the public at this time, and the official plan designates this land as commercial land use. That's all. Thanks.
Okay, thank you for that. And we have Paul Demzak will make a presentation to the committee.
We're just in the process of promoting them to panelists.
Okay. I see Mr. Demzak's here. And you have the floor, Mr. Demzak, and I understand you have a presentation as well.
Yes.
And the owner, Andrew Wright, is also here.
Just in terms of protocol, just quickly, yeah, my name is Paul Demchek with Vittori Management. I'm the client's land use planner. Would it be possible for me to share my screen, or will staff be able to share the presentation?
If you're more comfortable sharing, then you can go ahead, sure.
Okay, perfect. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep, we're good.
Okay. So I'll just start it here. Okay. So the subject site, as the planner mentioned, is located at 217 to 219 North Front Street. The subject site is on the east side of North Front Street and is currently vacant with an asphalt parking area. As mentioned, the landowner is proposing to develop an automatic car wash station with queuing for up to 30 vehicles. There's an additional 33 vehicular parking spaces on the site, and vehicle parking and access is proposed from North Front Street. So the site includes landscaping and fencing next to adjacent properties, and I'll circle back to that in a moment. But the subject site is irregular in shape as shown in this aerial photograph with approximately 46 meters of frontage along North Front Street. So as noted in the Belleville official plan, the subject site is designated as a commercial land use. As part of the official plan, sorry, just bear with me. Just having technical difficulties here. It's not clicking through. I apologize. Would staff be able to put up the presentation? It's not working on my end right now. I apologize. Thank you. If I could take staff to slide number 3, please. Okay, thank you so much. So the subject site is designated as a commercial land use on Schedule B, the land use plan. The proposed car wash, in my opinion, is complementary to a range of other automotive focused uses located in close proximity to the subject site and along this corridor, including various auto parts and accessory stores and automobile service and repair uses. The subject site is zoned C3 highway commercial within the City of Belleville zoning bylaw 10245 as amended. Uses in the zone do include motor vehicle body shops, motor vehicle rentals, motor vehicle repairs, motor vehicle sales, as well as recreational vehicle sales. And as noted, this would be essentially a minor zoning bylaw amendment to permit the additional use of the car wash. Next slide, please. So this is a site plan of what has been submitted. So the proposed automatic car wash building is located at the north side of the site, which does front on the street and is set back approximately 22.5 meters from the eastern property edge, as well as 1.5 meters from the north property line. Glass roll-up doors provide access and egress to and from the building. And the south facade is lined primarily with glass to provide a view into the cars moving through the facility. Signage is located above the vehicle exit door and facing North Front Street. And I'll show a slide of that in a moment. So as mentioned, the car wash facility has 33 parking spaces and 18 different vacuum stations and spaces. So the vacuum stations, along with a small one-story vacuum mechanical building, are located around the central parking area. In terms of landscaping, a total of 39% of the site area is landscaped. And the landscaping also provides for stormwater retention, buffering from adjacent uses, and improves the aesthetics of the overall site. The landscaping areas include over 20 trees and other plantings being proposed. And specific buffer areas are provided at the eastern edge of the property that has obviously the more direct adjacency to the residential uses. In addition, a 2.4 meter acoustical fence is proposed to be constructed along that eastern property limit and adjacent to those residential buildings. Next slide, please. So staff did request a D series guideline analysis, which is required by the MECP, and as it relates to specifically car washes. So I will note that the D6 guidelines do not technically apply to car wash facilities. However, as just out of precaution, we did look at the D6 series guidelines and assessed it against the proposed car wash use. So based on the recommendations and guidelines of the D6 series guidelines, sensitive uses are required to have a 20 meter separation distance between any potential uses that are there, including the subject site, which we assessed against. So as I noted, the car wash building is located 22.5 meters from the adjacent sensitive uses to the east. And in our opinion, it exceeds the distance, the minimum requirements of the D6 series guidelines, as well as additional acoustic fencing and landscape features will create buffering from these sensitive uses. Next slide, please. So these are a couple of the building elevations that have been submitted as part of the application. Next slide, please. This slide shows it perhaps a little bit better in terms of the rendering and what is being proposed and the aesthetics of the building. While just for the benefit of council this evening, I know this is not a necessarily a land use planning matter, but I know as part of car wash facilities, a lot of times environmental considerations and questions come up. So on behalf of the owners, I'd like to just go through a few items specific to our site and the proposed use. So regarding facility noise, I know that the operator for Revived Car Wash uses essentially vehicle drying system with a central vacuum system that's located in a separate soundproof building. So you're not using individual vacuums for each parking space. And what happens is basically that soundproof building provides noise mitigation from the vacuuming to mitigate any potential impacts on adjacent properties. Pertaining to wastewater, on site, there's going to be an underground oil grit interceptor to capture oil sediments and oils, as well as the remaining wastewater. And one of the big items that I know that this specific operator obviously encourages, just from an environmental perspective, is trying to reduce freshwater consumption. So this is done by installing on-site a high-tech wastewater reclaim system, as well as underground holding tanks that basically allow for fine settlement to settle at the bottom as it travels through chambers, and then is pumped back into the car wash facility through a filtering system to basically use a gray water process to reuse water. So what happens through that process typically is that, such as the Revive car wash, they use approximately 30 to 40% of the fresh water that would typically be used if you were to, for example, wash your car at home. Next slide, please. So just in terms of next steps, my client does have to amend the zoning bylaw to permit the proposed car wash. And it is intended that a site plan control application is going to be submitted concurrently with the application for the zoning bylaw process. We did want to go through this initial feedback from council and hear of any comments, questions before we obviously submitted that. Next slide, please. So I know myself, as well as the client and the project architect, is here this evening, but we are before the committee and we'd be happy to answer and assist with any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. Any questions from committee members? No? Oh, wait, yeah. Mr. Jennings.
Yeah, thank you, through the chair. I had a question about the proximity of the vacuuming building. I know you mentioned it was soundproof. What do we have some kind of a decibel level that will come from that building? And because I noticed it's not in the, it doesn't meet the 20-meter offset that you had talked about earlier.
Actually, I can answer the question. Essentially, the building is a concrete block structure that will be finished in the exterior to match the building. All the noise will be contained within the building, so there won't be any noise at all escaping it. So I would say even 0 decibels. Again, that's the intent of the structure.
Great.
And we've done a number of these buildings, and that's the reason for central vac system, so we can control the noise level. As Paul mentioned, the older style were individual vacuum canisters that generate noise. This one here does not. Also, one thing, just to let you know that these vacuums will be actually free of charge to the public. But that's our new concept in Ontario. Again, we have a number of these sites, but they're very attractive, and it's a great facility.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from committee members? No, I don't see any. Okay, thank you very much. And if I could get a motion to refer to the Planning Advisory Committee, please. Councillor McCaw, seconded by Councillor Kelly. All in favor? That's carried. And can I get a motion to adjourn this portion of the meeting? Councillor Alsop. Councillor Kelly, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. All right, moving on to the Plan Advisory Committee, and see everyone's in attendance. Councillor Feeney is absent. Councillor McCaw is sitting in. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof? Seeing none. Reading confirmation of the minutes. I got a resolution of the minutes of the City Council Planning Committee meeting and Planning Advisory Committee meeting held on March 7th, 2022 be approved. Moved by Mr. Joyce, second by Ms. Brown. All in favor? That's carried. There are no deputations. There's no correspondence. Moving on from referrals from the public meeting, 6.1 notice of complete application and introductory public meeting for proposed zoning bylaw amendment, bylaw 3014, 1374 Tutsville Road, City of Belleville. Owner is Elmer and Sharon Prest. File number is B-77-1159. The resolution reads that report number PP-22, 2022-16, dated April 4th, 2022, regarding notice of complete application and introductory public meeting for proposed amendment to zoning bylaw number 3014 as amended, 1374 Tutsville Road, City of Belleville, County of Hastings, be received as information, and that staff report back at such time as input from the public, commenting agencies, and municipal departments has been received, assessed, and addressed to the satisfaction of the Engineering and Development Services Department. I get somebody to move that, please. Councillor Alsop, seconded by Mr. Baltutis. Any questions or comments on this one? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. 6.2, notice of complete application and introductory public meeting for application for proposed amendment to zoning bylaw number 10245 as amended, 217-219 North Front Street, City of Belleville. Owner is MB North Front Street Incorporated. Agent is Duro Bacanic, care of Bicor Design Group Limited. File number is B-77-1160. Resolution reads that report number PP-2022-17, dated April 4th, 2022, regarding notice of complete application and introductory public meeting for application for proposed amendment to zoning bylaw number 10245 as amended, 217-219 North Front Street, City of Belleville, County of Hastings, be received as information, and that staff report back at such time as input from the public, commenting agencies, and municipal departments has been received, assessed, and addressed to the satisfaction of the Engineering and Development Services Department. Get somebody to move that, please. Mr. Joyce, seconded by Councillor Alsop. Any questions or comments on this one? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, moving on to report 7.1, staff recommendation report for proposed amendment to Belleville official plan, 621 Dundas Street East, City of Belleville. Owner is 225-5718 Ontario Incorporated. Applicant is EchoView Consulting Services Incorporated, and file number B-50-3-34. The resolution reads that Planning Advisory Committee recommends the following to City Council. That application B-50-3-34 to amend the City of Belleville official plan for 621 Dundas Street East, City of Belleville, be approved as follows. That Schedule B, land use of the official plan, be amended by redesignating a portion of the subject land from environmental protection to residential land use, and by creating a new East Bayshore planning subarea. That the official plan be advised to include subsection 4.1.2 East Bayshore planning subarea with special provisions to address future environmental impact study, EIS, study requirements, and future parkland dedication considerations. That the adopted new official plan pending ministerial approval be updated to reflect these changes, or that these changes be permitted as a request under section 22.2 of the Planning Act to amend the ministerial approval or ministerial approved new official plan as the case may be. I get somebody to move that, please. Ms. Brown and Mr. Jennings, any questions or comments on this one? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moving on to information matters, the official plan and zoning bylaw amendments monitoring report to April 4th, 2022. I need a resolution that the official plan and zoning bylaw amendment monitoring report to April 4th, 2022 be received. Councillor Alsop and Mr. Baltutis, any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Anything under general business? I don't see anything. Okay, I have some closing remarks. The Planning Advisory Committee's applicable decisions will be forwarded to City Council for consideration, forming part of the agenda for the City Council meeting to be held. And with that, I need a motion to adjourn. Mr. Baltutis, seconded by Mr. Joyce. All in favor? Thank you.